All right, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through Google Ads bidding, essentially explain how it works, the different strategies you can use, which ones you should be using, which ones you shouldn't be using, and how to optimize it with Google's AI in the later months, at least the system that works for us. Now, to start off, how does it work? Google Ads bidding system works on an auction house. So like any auction house, you place a bid, and in a normal auction house, the highest bid wins. But with Google Ads, there's some other factors. So you have your actual bid, the price you're willing to pay for the selected keyword you've looked at, the actual quality of your ads. And this is one of the biggest determining factors when it comes to placing your ad and where you rank. Quality score can make or break your campaign. So if you have really crappy ads, but you're still willing to pay a lot of money, Google will probably take your money, but it place you really low, maybe on the bottom of the page or on page two. That's how much quality score has an effect on you, at least on your campaign, because Google only wants to give a good customer experience to the users on Google. They don't want to give a poor quality experience, especially if your ads have nothing to do with the actual keyword. Chances are Google's just not going to show it, and you're going to be out of luck. So these two things are probably the biggest factors: the bid and the quality. If you have a good bid and a high quality, chances are you're going to be ranking in the top three or even first place. That being said, you're not always, even if you are ranking in the first place, you're not always going to be ranking in the first place because Google tries to mitigate that. They try to give everyone somewhat of a chance to rank there. Even if you do have a really high quality score and bid, you're not always going to be first place. You can get really close, you can get like 98%, but you're not always going to be first place. So that should be noted. Another thing is the expected impact from your ad extensions and other ad formats. This is essentially saying if you have crappy ad extensions, Google's not going to show them. So it is very beneficial to have good extensions because your ad is going to take up more space. More space means you're more likely to be seen, you're more likely to be clicked on. This in turn gives you a higher click-through rate, a better quality score. Like it's a snowball effect. It's wonderful. And I really preach having good extensions and relevant extensions to your customers. But these three things, if you do them all well, you should be ranking pretty high in Google Ads Auction House. And this is essentially how the auction works. Google looks at all these three things instantaneously and then places you somewhere on its page. So these three businesses, they're all bidding for the keyword HVAC near me, and Google has taken into account their bid, their quality score, and their previous ad extension history and how well it performed, and then placed all of them uh, in accordance with that. And as you can see, these two have site link extensions, and this one does not. So chances are they either don't have good site link extensions and Google chose not to show it, or maybe they just don't have it at all. So that's just a good overview of how the actual bidding system works and a nice little summary if you didn't know that. Now to get into the actual strategy. So say you want to change up your strategy, and we're going to walk through each one of them. To get to that, we got to go into pool installation or your campaign of selected, whatever one you want to select. We're going to do pool installation. This is our demo account. We're going to hit settings. Then we're going to come down into bidding. We're going to hit change bid strategy. I would recommend doing this or select a bid strategy directly. Google doesn't like doing this because Google likes to have as much control as possible, but as a user of Google Ads, I want to have as much control as possible. Once we hit that, we now have the ability to select one of 5 bidding strategies. All right, I'm going to start off with manual CPC and work my way up. Manual CPC used to be the golden standard of ads and Google campaigns as a whole. Everyone used to use them. They were very, very effective, and they were the best return on investment you could use. But this was when Google's AI really wasn't good. Now Google AI has gotten significantly better, and it is better than a human. So manual CPC has essentially gone the way of the dinosaurs, and it's not really used anymore. I could see it still being used for really small campaigns, such as like digital marketing. If you're only targeting one or two keywords and you really want to do it just yourself, I could see that working. But for 99% of campaigns, manual CPC is essentially not worthwhile because you can spend your time better doing other things like A/B testing your ads, your landing pages, expanding ad groups. It's just really not worth the time anymore. And chances are you're actually going to get better results with the automated bidding strategy because Google's AI has all this data that you don't. So I generally don't recommend manual cost per click. It's just not useful anymore, at least to the vast majority of consumers on Google Ads. The next one is target impression share. Target impression share is something I stay away from like the plague. There is so many people out there that want to rank number one all the time, and this is essentially what target impression share does. I would avoid doing this just because most people, when they want to rank number one, are just going to burn so much money and they really don't know what they're doing. It's generally an ego related thing of, I always want to rank number one. Um, there's just better ways of spending your money and there's better return. And I would rather have a 60% impression share and be making a lot of money compared to 100% impression share and barely breaking even or losing money. So that's what you got to take into consideration. One thing you could do with target impression share would be branded keywords. So if you have, say, your brand is really well known, like Amazon, you could use a target impression share to rank 100% of the time in the actual paid section. That could be worthwhile just so your competition doesn't get it. But other than that, I really don't know of any good way of using target impression share that would be beneficial to the company over the other automated bidding strategies. The next one is conversion value, which is absolutely awesome for e-commerce campaigns. This essentially allows you to optimize for specific products. If Google knows what every single product is worth, and it can figure out like, okay, if I spend, X amount of dollars here, I can get X amount of value out of here versus this product. So I'm going to optimize for, product A. And it's really, really good for getting the most value and the most profit out of multiple products. It's absolutely wonderful for e-commerce, provided you have all your tracking set up properly. This is like the go-to for e-commerce. I don't know of anything better than this. That's what I would do. Maximize conversions is awesome for generating leads. It's not as awesome for e-commerce because you can generate a lot of conversions, but they can be very low profit. So I would stick to value versus maximize conversions if you were doing e-commerce. That being said, maximize conversions is absolutely phenomenal for generating leads as quickly as possible because we don't really know exactly what a lead is worth. Everyone is different, and you don't know exactly who's on the end of the line. So you want as many leads as possible, and Google does a really good job with this. One caveat, one thing I should say is you should set a target cost per action. This is essentially target CPA. They got rid of it, but now it's in maximize conversion, so you still have it. Target cost per action is essentially what you're willing to spend per conversion. So, say you can get a $25 lead after the first few months of running this, and I only recommend running an automating bidding strategy once you have enough data in the account, usually month two or month three. So, say you can get a conversion for $25 in the first month. What I would do, I'd probably give it $40 or $45, maybe even $50 to play with in the first like 3, 4, 5 months. That way, Google has enough room to essentially play, figure out what it's doing, and then get you even better returns. It's very, very good at generating leads for very low cost, provided you give it enough room to run with. It is by far the best bidding strategy if optimized properly for Google Ads in generating leads for service-based businesses. That being said, on to the next bid strategy, which is maximize clicks. So essentially, maximize clicks is how many, like, get as many clicks as possible into your account as quickly as possible. So this strategy, even though it kind of sounds dumb, is the one we go with for the first month or two, and this is because we want as much data in the account as possible. And once you have enough data in the account, you can start essentially steering the ship, figuring out the winners, figuring out the losers, and what you want your account to look like. Once you have enough conversions, usually 25 to 50 conversions in your account, then I would say switch it over to maximize conversions, set your target CPA to right around double whatever you're getting leads for, and then let Google go from there. And that's generally the strategy we implement. Go maximize clicks for the first couple months and then maximize conversions. And the reason we do that is if you hand over the reins of Google Ads too early to maximize conversions, it can optimize for keywords that generally aren't great. So say you're running broad or phrase match, it could target like HVAC DIY or pool installation tips and tricks. And it can get a lot of calls from that and it thinks it's doing a good job, but in reality, it's just wasting money. Um, because Google only understands conversions. It doesn't understand the actual intent behind the keyword. So that's important to note to get your account steering in the right direction. That's why we go with maximize clicks, and we have a little bit more variables to play with inside the account. We can steer it and go from there. So those are all the bid strategies. There used to be a lot more of them. Google's really cracking down on them, getting rid of most of them to make the process as easy as possible for users inside Google Ads. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day and take care.